What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Ethereum today, ETH It is the 26th day of November. Shout out to all the homies. Shout out to all the haters. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. If you're a hater, you don't want to do either of those things. I get it. Leave me a scathing comment. Say something about me being a scammer or something. Do that at least. Promote the engagement. Allow more people to view the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe. Haters, do your thing. And let's get into this. Okay, here we are at $3,000 right now. We got about 4 days, and it says 5 hours, but it's more like 4.5 hours left in the week. And before we get into the short-term stuff and do the normal stuff that we do as far as TA is concerned, I want to just talk about where we are here. Okay. From a low to the high, we've pulled all the way back to our 0.5 as far as retracements go. Now, that's not the most significant level. Typically in the fibs, the most significant levels are the 382, the 236, the golden ratio. Hell, even the 886 and 786, the 0.5 is probably the least significant level. It's the only level that's not actually a fib, technically. Right, the 69 and 069, those aren't fibs either, technically. But in a standard fib, the 0.5 is the only one that's not a fib. Why are we showing respect there now? We look at Bitcoin, and for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, but for some reason, this whole cycle, Bitcoin has found direct support at its 0.5. Imagine here, from a low to a high, we got bearish because Bitcoin wicked all the way down to its 0.5. Look at how fast it wicked down there too. In the same kind of context, how fast you wick down there, right? And then you continue to move higher. You take this low, I'm sorry, not that low. We move it up because now this low is the next low to this move here. Low to high, you bounced off the 0.5 twice right there. You bounced off it 2 times right there, okay? I'm just curious. I actually didn't take this and see, but I am curious, high to low. Look at that. We even found resistance kind of just below the 0.5. Right? Maybe you would actually take this low instead of that low because that's the fake out low. I don't know. Maybe not. But I was just curious there. That's not actually a good example of what I was trying to show. Low to high here, or no, I'm sorry, it was low to high here, went to the 382, then we take this low to this high, and this is an Ethereum video, but we're going over Bitcoin. Bitcoin found support at the 0.5, the relative 0.5, twice, and it found support at the golden ratio ultimately. Okay. And we're only going off of support. We're not even going off the points where he found resistance at the 0.5, which there's been plenty. He found support just above the 0.5 here. We take the low, we put it at the high there. That was kind of our last kind of significant low. We're very near the 0.5 there, or maybe this low here, right? We didn't actually find too much support at the 0.5 this time, unfortunately. But all I'm trying to, we actually did find a little bit of resistance. All I'm trying to say is Bitcoin, the leader of the pack of crypto, has been finding support at its 0.5 all cycle. Why might not Ethereum? Might Ethereum find support at the 0.5? You don't like the 0.5? That's fine. What about prior areas of resistance? What about $3,000 being a psychological level of support, right? We take last cycle's high to the bear market low into consideration. We're also bouncing right at our golden ratio of that. Right? Maybe you're not on board with the 0.5, so I don't know what I just did there. Maybe you're not on board with that, and that's too far of a reach for you. Do take into consideration that we've gone all the way up. We pull back to the golden ratio of our cycle high to cycle low bear market retracement. This is a very bullish place to be in, and there's very limited doubts. I would say 0 doubts, but because we're fair, the Bitcoin chart does have a chance of being in a bear market. I don't think we're in a bear market. I said it confidently at the lows that I think we're still in a bull market. I don't know how many people confidently said it at the lows there, but I did. Not just calling for a bounce, but calling for us to still be in a bull market, just as I did here, just as we did back here at these lows, right? But the only chance that Ethereum has that it doesn't see new all-time highs, that it doesn't rally from here, is if Bitcoin is in itself in a bear market, okay? If it is in a bear market. But I want to imagine something real quick. Because we're comparing Ethereum to Bitcoin. Let's imagine that we see a standard move, okay? We see a standard retracement. This is a lower high we break down from. Maybe we go a little bit higher, we break down. We find resistance at prior support. Or maybe we find resistance up here at prior support. We move up a little bit higher and then down. Let's say we're in a bear market, and that's what we do. Okay? What did... and I'm sorry, I keep clearing my throat. What did Ethereum do back here? What did Ethereum do during this move back here, right? Because the move that we're talking about is something similar from a low to a high. It's actually something very similar to what we did back here. This move might not even be appropriate because it's way smaller, right? What if we get a standard retracement? It's just like what we saw back here in June. What did Ethereum do back here in June, the end of June, to the middle point of July? End of June to the middle point of July was about here. We saw Ethereum pump from about $2,100 at the low to, again, the middle of July, about $3,800. So 21 to 38, that's about a $1,700 price increase. Imagine if we saw Bitcoin move here and we just duplicated that same move, okay, from the, oops, from the end of June, middle of June, the low, to the high here. If we saw that happen from here, Ethereum's at new all-time highs, you guys. And I'm not saying that just because Ethereum made this move before, and just because Bitcoin made this move before, and that the average person is expecting that from here, this low, we do return to around $100,000 for resistance, which is directly comparable to this move here, and Ethereum did exactly this move, which would take us to new all-time highs, so we did it now. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's what happened before. In a very exact, there's no other way to look at it. That's exactly what happened before. What if we see a larger move? What if we see a lesser move? Hell, let's even cut that move down a significant bit. What if we're here? The average person is going to be on the same page as what I'm saying right now, is that we're going to see new all-time highs. There's going to be, I don't care if we're at new all-time highs or we're at $4,400. There's going to be immense FOMO here because of how many people expect that the bear market is beginning, the bull market's over. But this is just a healthy, robust crash. It's a correction. That's all it is. A correction of which we're finding support at the golden ratio. And again, I want to be clear. Just because Bitcoin moves up, even if Bitcoin does retrace to 100 grand or higher, doesn't mean Ethereum has to make this same move. That's just what happened before. Maybe it's a lesser move. Maybe it's a greater move. You know, this move in response was after a month of consolidating. This move is after a massive wick where immense fear in the crypto markets is, right? Where we've been in the coin market cap website just keeps loading for me. It's taking its time. But the fear and greed index has been at extreme fear for like 2 weeks now. That wasn't back here. We saw an insane pump without all that stuff. We are so deviated from the mean of what sentiment is. I wouldn't doubt at all if the next move for Ethereum was larger than this last move. But again, just because it did that last time, just because Bitcoin made this move and Ethereum in that same response, that same exact move would take us just above new all-time highs, doesn't mean it has to happen now. Maybe it's a lesser move. Maybe it's a greater move, right? We're just going over the facts and the charts, which are that's what happened last time. $3,000 now, we look at the weekly time frame, the RSI is also coincidentally, it's actually below this level. It's actually at a weaker point. You have a lower low with a higher low in the price. It's called hidden bullish divergence. We have a higher low in the price and a lower low in the RSI. We're also coincidentally around the same the same readings that we were at this low point, the same readings that we were at this low point, the same readings that we were at this low point, the same readings that we were at this low point. Here, if I was distracting you too much, let me put a line right there so you can see every single one of these readings ties up directly with a low point in Ethereum's macro cycle dynamics. Maybe that's all a coincidence, and all we get from here is a little pump up to $4,000. But you got to admit that even that would likely generate a massive rally for altcoins. 30% pump for Ethereum and altcoins don't rally? I don't buy it. I think that they will all rally. Maybe that's all we get. That seems a bit ridiculous to me, but maybe we find resistance here. There's reasons to make out of that. Maybe Ethereum's in a bear market, but I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that where Ethereum's going from here is all the way up to $7,750 or higher. If not there, then $10,000. Somewhere in this area is where we're going. And as far as when does it happen, I don't know if anybody knows. I don't know. It could be early by the end of this year. It could be a little later by the end of March. I don't know. And I doubt it takes until March to get there. But I would think sometime between now and probably the next 6 weeks, if not maybe the next 10 weeks, we see Ethereum at a 77, let's call it 7,800, we'll round up, to $10,000 price. And if I'm wrong, it's only because we're higher. That's my thoughts. I don't know. I meant to do the short-term stuff. I wanted to do that, but we did the long-term stuff. I feel like ending the video, so let's just do a rapid-fire short-term analysis. Okay, RSI, you're overbought. Stochastics are overbought. The MACD's bouncing off the zero. All bullish things. All good things. You have a bit of a trend here. You have higher lows coming in. You have higher highs coming in. Might you be at a point to find resistance? Sure. We're at $3,000. Psychological resistance is implied here as well. Maybe we find a little turbulence, and then we run up tomorrow or the next day. You know, maybe that's what happens. Maybe from here we correct out of this, and then once we're below, that's where we find support, and then we make a big move up. Whatever. We made a nice move. We look healthy on the 1 hour, but we're overbought on all accounts. Maybe we move up a little bit more, but we probably find some turbulence here soon. 4 hour time frame, very bullish on the 4 hour. The RSI, the stochastics, the MACD is awesome. This time frame disagrees entirely with what I just said on the 1 hour. It says, we're just getting started, papi. We're going to be moving up higher pronto, senor. We're going to be doing it right now. Okay? Ahora. Because the 4 hour MACD crossed here, crossed on, I would say, like Tuesday. It's Wednesday now. It's been about a day and a half since it crossed, actually. And typically it's about a day and a half to 3 days that we consolidate after the cross, and then we move up higher. Sometimes longer than 3 days, but you're doing it right now. I would expect from here we probably move up to about 3,200, where we found resistance before right here and support right here. So we probably do move up to 3,200. Unless the next 4 hour candle, if the next one closes red, again, we have 21 minutes left in this 4 hour candle. If this next 4 hour candle, the last 4 hour candle of the 26th of November today, I've got a newborn, if you guys hear her crying. She's a baby. Babies cry. I'm almost done here. Bear with me, okay? I have to hear it too. And it's just natural. It's beautiful. It's actually a wonderful thing. There might be a time and a place where any parent who has a crying baby, they might miss that noise, right? It's actually a beautiful thing, man. Anyways, all I'm trying to say is 3,200 makes a lot of sense. If we close this next 4 hour candle red, we will effectively reject the overbought zone, and then that scenario where we break out of this uptrend might happen. And it's okay. If we break this uptrend, if we find ourselves below 2,900, we're at $2,800, $2,700, it's fine. We'll find support there and then move up. Everything's still going to happen, okay? But the stochastics, the MACD, the RSI, to me, they all suggest we want higher. So go higher. Maybe you don't stop at 32. Maybe you run up to 3,700, but I doubt you get, or 3,600. I doubt you get above 36, though. I would think that this run stops somewhere between 36 and 3,200. We probably consolidate back down, find support, and then we continue to rally. Okay, that's the thought here. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. Daily MACD is crossing green after being red for quite some time. A little bit of no bullish divergence, but still bottoming signals. The stochastics is pointed upwards and out of the oversold zone, suggesting that we move higher. And the RSI is still technically in a downtrend. You still technically do have lower highs. But with this momentum that we've got going for us, with this double bottom, triple bottom in the RSI, might we break out of this? And if we do break out of this lower trend in the RSI, I would assume that also goes hand in hand with breaking out of this trend here in the price. And we would likely see some type of retracement, at least from a high to a low, take us to the golden ratio zone, which would be around $3,800 to $4,000. And from here, $3,800 to $4,000, from here, that's about a 30% move for Ethereum. And if Ethereum is moving up 30% between now and the end of the year, I can't imagine altcoins are going to have a bad time. So choose your altcoins wisely. Invest wisely, my friends. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I do think Ethereum has found the low, and I do think we're moving up to new all-time highs. I don't believe we go lower, but anything can happen. Take care. Hit the like button. Subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.